Hi and welcome back, and in this video we're going to be talking about how to prepare for an audit from a grant funder. So this is really important video for anyone who is going for grant funding. Please listen to this video because this will save you later on, I promise. So before I jump into that, just hit the subscribe button for everything to do with community interest companies, grant funding, social enterprises and all that. You can jump over to my website for my course or my mentoring or book a call with me. Now, I have been audited myself. I've been running CICs for 10 years, and there are certain things that I wish I'd known from the beginning. So I'm going to share those with you now so that you can be prepared to be audited. Being audited by grant funders is something that's becoming a lot more common. I do think this is because there's a massive demand now on grant funding, so they need to be more fussy. And also, I think there has been some issues that have been public cases. And there have been some issues where there have been some big cases where grant funders haven't been doing their audits properly. So they're under a lot more scrutiny from the regulators to do so. So here are my main tips. 1, you must keep receipts. Now, this is something that I didn't know at the beginning. I thought that invoices were fine. So it turns out an invoice isn't enough to prove that you've paid somebody. You need to also have receipts and a bank statement. So when you do your projects, please keep invoices, the receipts and your bank statements. And this includes a receipt from you for any work that you've done. And you may also need to prove that it was paid into your account. So keep your self-employed bank statements as well, or your LTD or whatever it is you paid it into, okay? So make sure they're all dated and everything tallies up. The best idea and the best advice I could say to you is in that initial stage when you get your grant funding, you'd go back and you look at your budget that was on your original application form, you write it down and you plan those payments out exactly. Now, this is why it's incredibly important that you make sure when you wrote your application that you fully researched what you were going to spend your budget on. Because if you just put guess amounts, that's not going to be good when you then go make your payments and you find out the amount is different, because then you're going to be asked, why are these amounts different? So it is absolutely vitally important that you research your budgets properly, that you budget and plan them properly so that you make sure that the payments are going to be exactly the same as your budget. Now, one thing you could do, just in case there is any little changes, is you could always put in a contingency budget. So every application you do, put in like £300 or so as a contingency budget so that you know then you've got a little bit extra if you need to spend it on something or if the price of something has gone up since you originally budgeted. It's always a good idea to get competitive quotes as well for your original budgets so that you know that you've got those quotes in officially from people. Now, when you are keeping your records, it's a good idea to actually print off a hard copy and have them on an electronic file as well. Just double it up, because I did have a problem once, had everything electronically stored and my Mac blew up. So that was all, I couldn't recover it all. So I really regretted then not having hard copies of everything because I'd kept everything digitally. Often hard drives can't even be trusted. Often hard drives there will be something that will go wrong with them. So if you have 2 hard drives, that's always advisable. But you can't beat some physical copies as well. So it's a good idea to do that. Now, how long should you be keeping all your documentation for? So most grant funders like the National Lottery will ask you to keep them for 7 years. Personally think that is ridiculous because so much can happen in 7 years. But the fact is that is what they ask for, and they can go back and audit you for an earlier project, and they do that. So make sure that you keep everything for 7 years. If, for instance, the company closes, I would still keep, if you are the directors, copies of everything for that amount of time. Now, how much information should you be sharing with your other directors? I think it is advisable that you actually, at the end of every project, you have basically a little evidence pack and you give a copy of that evidence pack to your directors. Because if at some point in the future the lottery chases that audit, they are going to chase every director, and every director, especially the ones that signed off the application, are going to be asked for it. Now, say you've got a director that's disappeared Okay, so the main person that was supposed to be storing it all has moved abroad, or you fall out with them, or whatever happens in life, and that person goes away, and then you've been asked as a supporting director for that information. It's a good idea that you had it in the beginning, and that is your responsibility. You shouldn't be relying just on the main person that's running the project to keep that and store it, and just say, oh well, they were supposed to have stored it, it's nothing to do with me. Well, actually it's everybody's responsibility. So it's a really good idea to actually share, like I said, make a little pack, and you don't have to keep much. It's literally just the receipts, the invoices and the bank statements. And it's always a good idea to have like some kind of proof that you did the project, like photos or something like that, just a little Word document even. Just get those basics in a little pack, and just share them and keep them with every director after your project. That way everybody's covered. It's easy to, if anyone audits you in the future, you can just pull it up and be like, great. So do get in that good habit, because you will be audited. So that's very, very important. If you don't have something, they are entitled to ask for all of the money back, even if you completed the project. So it's very important that you keep all of that, just to save yourself that stress. The other thing that the lottery actually expects you to keep is the original application form. So when you send off your application, you get an email back from the lottery, and it's a copy of your application. So save it. I always, whenever they send that email to me saying, thank you, we've got your application, and then they've got my application there on that email, I then put that into a folder on my email, so I know that I've got it. So keep your applications, your invoices, your receipts, and your bank statements, and also some photographs of your project. And this is why I always say it's so important to, while you're doing your project, to put it on social media, because then no one can say that you didn't do your project. It's there. And always put the project name from the grant funder that you used. So say the National Lottery project, called whatever it's called, this has been funded by National Lottery, and then you got some pictures of some workshops or whatever it is you did. So have that, so it's on your Facebook, your Instagram and all that. And in a way that's better than website, because the website, if you, for instance, finish the project and you close the website could go. Whereas like social media is kind of there, sort of printed forever. But it's also a good idea to keep some of the photos as on a hard drive as well. So I hope that helps. If you are having any issues with auditing, or you have been sent an email and you don't know what to do get in contact with me and I can help advise you.